Hey y'all, if you're watching this, it is because you have completed your 30 note cards and you have found your 3 sources and you have done it and you are ready to move on to the next step of the research project. I'm making you this video because I know what we're about to do can be kind of confusing and finicky, and I hope that by doing this and showing you step by step what you need to do, that you can do it yourself while I'm gone. Of course, if you have any questions or are just totally confused, you can send me an email and I will do my best to help you while I am in Boston. But basically, what I'm going to show you how to do is a topic outline and then how to turn that topic outline into your essay, which for our purposes, we call your essay shaping a sentence outline because we're doing our research project. So first, I'm going to take you through going through your resources, going through your cards, figuring out what you want to use. Then I'm going to show you how to do a topic outline, which is going to be your last summative grade of this term. And then I'm going to show you how to do a sentence outline, which you're going to get started working on while I'm gone, but then when I get back, I will be able to get with you one-on-one to help you and make sure you know what you're doing. So let's start with our note cards and going through what we have. All right, so I'm using an example of some students' note cards. I'm gonna mess them all up, but Greer, I will go back and fix these after I'm done. But basically, you have been thinking about researching your poet through the lens of what influenced their poetry, whether that be their mental health or relationships that they had, or maybe the place where they were born, or political movements that were happening while they were writing, whatever influenced them and made them write the way that they did. You have collected all this information, and a lot of y'all have collected some biographical information as well in your 30 note cards. And what you're going to do now is you probably have your note cards split up into your 3 different resources. Like so. And you probably want to keep them this way, right? Like, you've done this research, it's in this order for a reason because that's how you found it, but life isn't always like that. So you're going to take them all and you're going to start shuffling them up. You're mixing them up so that you can start to find the connections between the note cards that you have. So you have a new stack. It might have taken you longer than it just took me, and that's totally fine. What you're going to start doing now is you're going to look at the card, you're going to look at the title of the card that you gave it, and you're going to start making stacks. Now, your goal is to make as many stacks as you can based on the 30 cards that you have, but you're trying to find connections between your sources. So maybe you had some stuff about the relationships from one source and you had some other stuff about the relationships from another source. You'd put those cards together. You're basically just trying to find the commonalities between what you have researched. So, Greer only has like 20 cards right now because we're not done with doing our research note cards yet, so she may actually have more piles than this when it's all said and done. But right now, you can see that she has about 12 piles, which is pretty awesome. That's going to be kind of where you want to be, or more. You don't want to have like 10 cards in one stack, because if you do, then you've probably done something wrong. Like 3 or 4, maybe 5 cards in a stack is pretty good to go. Then you start figuring out what these cards fall under when it comes to influences. So in order to do that, you have to figure out if there's any outliers, which means is there anything that you don't want to actually use in your research? Maybe it's some background information that's not useful, or maybe you put down some stuff about like where they were born that you could put in maybe the intro to your research paper, but it's not going to actually be a part of your influences. And so your goal is to figure out what are the 2 primary influences on my poet's life and what cards go within that. So after I've made these stacks from my research, I'm going to figure out which cards go together. So I'm going to take these 12 stacks, and I'm going to turn them into 2 piles. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to figure out what the connections are. So as I'm stacking the stacks together, I'm going to put them every other way, so I keep the stacks like together, but I'm keeping them within one influence so that all of the cards that fit together can be seen. So most of y'all will have like 2 stacks, then you'll have some cards that don't fit, that are going to be outliers, and that's totally fine. You have 30 note cards for a reason, and that's because you want to be able to have that extra information, but you also want to have stuff that's not good that you can cut from your actual project. So once you have separated your piles and put them together into the influences that you think you could write about, you start working on your topic outline. All right, so now that you have organized your life's work into its subcategories, you've figured out what the 2 primary influences on your poet are going to be, you get to go and get a topic outline. Now, a topic outline's purpose is to outline your research and figure out what you have, what you're working with. So I'm going to walk you through what goes on each line so that you know what to do. The point of a topic outline is not to write complete sentences aside from your thesis statement. It is to outline what the topics of your essay are going to be. So let's get started. So after you have divided up your after you have taken the time to divide up your cards, made your piles, I would go through with my pencil and I would name the piles. So say you collected all of the stuff about their tumultuous relationship with their husband. You could just label that pile relationship with husband. Or say you collected all the ones about religion. You could just label it religion. That way you know what you're dealing with when you start looking at the actual subtopics. All right, so you've organized your research note cards into your piles. You've figured out what the piles are connected by. You've labeled them by topic. Now you're ready to begin your topic outline. So a topic outline is essentially just that. It's an outline of the topics of your essay. You have room for your thesis at the top. You have 3 topics. And then within those topics, you have 4 subtopics. So I apologize right now for any shaky videos or fingers that end up in the camera. It's hard to film with your phone while you're writing. But basically, a lot of us are going to naturally want to start with our thesis and move our way down. But with topic outlines, and you'll see later with sentence outlines, that is going to mess you up. It's better to work from the subtopics and move your way up to your topics. So say you have pulled together all of your cards, you've labeled them with what the topic of the stack is, you've decided what your 2 primary influences are, you're ready to begin outlining your topics. I'm going to use an example from a couple of years ago just to kind of give you guys an idea of what this should look like. Basically, before I do that, let me label what these are for you. So this is a topic. these are subtopics. And then these are going to be note cards. So I am going to work backwards. I'm going to look at my stack of cards. I'm going to figure out where I want to begin. I'm going to think about the influences and say that I think that where the person lived is a really big influence on their life. And I have all of these card stacks that go with that. I'm going to begin by picking out the note cards that I want to use, and I'm going to start jotting down what the subtopics are. So maybe I have a topic about religion. Then I look at the stack that's labeled religion, because I've labeled them earlier, and I look at what the titles of the cards are. So the first one is going to be religious reception, because that's what I've titled the card. And then I'm going to put the card number next to it in parentheses so that I know which card I'm referencing. This is why it was important for you to have your cards labeled in a detailed and specific way, because you want for them to be able to stand out when you're looking at them. And the reason why you have that number is so that when you're trying to reference your quote later on, you'll see what I mean later, you have that there for you. So, and if you have two cards that are like both labeled religious reception, just having this next to it makes you know, oh, I'm referencing the first card from my second source. Then the next card in that stack was titled Religious Influences. And that's my fourth card from my second source. Then I have Southern Influences. That card that I had was titled Being from the South. Setting. As you can see, I'm just jotting down what I have. So eventually I'll get down to my fourth, because hopefully I can have 4 subtopics within the topic that I want to write about, and then I'll move on to my second topic. So I'm going to go ahead and title this topic Southern Life, because my poet is from the South. I'll keep going down, and then I'll go on to my second topic, and I'll decide, oh, okay, so I have another one that's all about their relationships. Maybe I'm able to get to this like conclusion already because I've been thinking about it. And I keep going. I keep writing down what the topic is and then the cards that go with the topic. So you may find that you have more than one card underneath the topic because of how many cards you put in the stack, and that's totally fine. At that point, you're trying to figure out what is the best evidence I have, what can I cut out, maybe I don't want to use this card, maybe I want to save this card for something else. Just depends. All right, so I realized that all the videos that I made were 26 minutes when I put them all together. So I'm splitting these up. The first video ends now. You should know about topic outlines, be working on your topic outline. Then you're going to start the next video.